Howdy, howdy. So, it's another day. Sun's out. Praise God for that. We're gonna continue making some slow progress on this thing. So, today I'm gonna keep going with the wiring, and I'm gonna get ready to plumb it for a remote mount fuel filter that I'm gonna put under the hood. So, I got a ton of cool components on Amazon. Links are all in the description. And what I'm going to end up doing is putting a glow plug, momentary toggle switch, and indicator light, probably somewhere to the left of the steering wheel. So then I can manually toggle the glow plugs. I was thinking about doing a timer circuit and a few other things, but realistically, I just want to make this thing as simple and as easy to work as possible. So I got a cool series of LED lights. I'm going to wire up to those toggles. I got a small fuse box that also has relays. Then I got a heavier duty relay for the glow plugs. So I'm going to mount, I think, most of that somewhere in between the factory fuse box and maybe where the battery goes, somewhere under there. And then I also plan on pulling power from the accessory on terminal. So buckle up, get yourself your favorite coffee, and let's get even closer to making this thing roadworthy. So to not hack up the interior of the car too much, I took out this blank switch, button panel, whatever. Probably was for, like, I don't know, some European spec stuff with like 2 more buttons. So I'm going to drill through that, make those holes a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to put these 2 little indicator lights in here. So my thoughts are to do one for the glow plug. So I have momentary toggle switches I'm going to use to actually cycle the glow plugs. I'm probably going to mount those somewhere on this side as well. And then I'm also going to do an oil pressure light. So maybe this isn't the best way of doing this, but I think I'm going to do it anyways. And maybe later down the road I might actually wire in a relay. So if it does lose oil pressure, it'll automatically kill the engine. And then I'd have like hold a toggle to start it, because obviously your oil pressure will build as your motor cranks and then fires. So, or I could end up using this for something else, but anyways, I'm going to mount 2 of these lights right there, and then I'm still trying to figure out where I want to put the toggle. I really don't want to drill through my beautiful fake wood, and I don't want to make anything look like too obvious on the interior that this thing is a complete hack, but maybe somewhere on the side of the steering column or something. So I'm gonna go drill these and get those fitted up and start to wire some pigtails. Just some minor fidangling. These things are in, so just gonna plop these right back in there. So let's get the wiring. And then I'm still gonna have to search for the accessory on the fuse box, but that shouldn't be too bad. So this is gonna be at least the orangish amber one. It's gonna be for my glow plugs, so when they are active, which are gonna be hooked up to a toggle switch. And then the green, I'm planning on using as a all clear, yes, it has oil pressure light. Because that'd be so sad to do this whole thing and have it start knocking or something because of no oil pressure. So these are both going to be pretty easy. So the negatives both just go to the ground anywhere on the car, and the positives will just be part of that circuit. So I'm going to go search for that ignition on wire and then start to kind of plan out where I'd like to put that fuse box. And then also figure out where I would like to put that glow plug toggle. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep thinking about that. All right, so to continue on the wiring, I'm gonna put the headlights back in and basically connect all the stock cars, or stock body, I guess if you wanna call it that, all those components and sensors and everything. And then I can start to weed out what extra I don't need, and I can start cutting off that loom. So I'm gonna throw these headlights back in. I might throw the bumper cover on with it, but I might also wait a bit. And then I'm gonna start chasing down a lot of these extra leads and start eliminating and tagging what I do and don't need. Really hoping this doesn't take too long. The wiring stuff gets a little crazy. Thankfully, I finally found a wiring diagram, but it's like 700 pages long. And hopefully I don't need to reference that too much. So you guys might get some footage of that. You also might not, depends on how I'm feeling. But regardless, I'll catch you guys in a few. All right, so front end is back on for the most part. So now I can legally park this thing in the street, which is pretty sick. I got my glow plug harness leads coming out. So I'm gonna wire these up to a relay. Haven't figured out exactly where I wanna put that. I might put it somewhere back in there, I'm thinking. Have a little bit more wiring to chug along and take care of. It does feel nice though to have most of the actual car's sensors and things all plugged in. Yeah, that one's still gotta do. So I'm working on buttoning up some of the coolant loop. So the oil cooler is hooked up. I'm also thinking, I don't know if I wanna run a heat exchanger yet, but I'm very tempted for the fuel. But I have just a few more things to do on the coolant loop, and then that'll be done. I installed one of the intercoolers, so the one on the passenger side, and I have a outlet pipe for the hot side of the turbo. So I am going to use that factory lower intercooler. I'm not going to use the crossover pipe if you were to run two intercoolers, because I don't think I will need that at this time. I am going to keep all these components and try not to mangle that in the process. So I'm going to cut the exhaust off probably tomorrow or Saturday or something, right at the back of the turbo, and then I'm going to have a really tight elbow. I'm going to aim up, and then I'm going to plan on going right up, out, and through. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the intake. So part of me wants to just zip that little lower part off in the top and see what I can do with that. And then if I were to zip that side support off, I could then cut across this, and then I could actually use this as part of the intake flange. So then I could just use a hose clamp and have whatever I want clamped to this, which then the intercooler outlet is right there. Still trying to figure out that situation. And then an air filter, I'm probably gonna end up putting that on this side as well. I don't really wanna do that. I just think for the sake of plumbing and going crazy, yeah, maybe I'll just do it on this side. So if I do run the exhaust out the side, I'm thinking I might, take some sheet metal, cut that down, and make a little partition so the exhaust is kind of blanketed in and hopefully it doesn't heat up the air filter too much. So I'm gonna plug a few more things in, hopefully get this relay done, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so this is one of those days where it's just pure chaos and I'm bouncing from task to task. So I was thinking, like, what am I gonna do for the air intake? So originally I was thinking, yep, I'll just cut the end of that off, and well, sure enough, I did. So I just used the angle grinder, buzz that off. I'm gonna clean out all the metal shavings and everything with that. Might put a new gasket on it. Maybe I'll just run the old one and throw this thing back on there. So I think this will be the best way to run the intake plumbing, because rather than having to find some proprietary piece to connect to that, you can just throw a hose around that and call it done. So, all right, I'm gonna clean this up and throw it on the car. All right, so that thing bolted on fairly easily. It looks a little bit better in person than it does on camera, but pretty nice sunset going tonight. So I'll probably keep working for a little bit longer. I'm gonna plan out my bracket for my throttle linkage, kind of figure out where I'd like to mount that to down below. I'm going to tidy up a little bit more of the wiring. I did not get to as much as I would have liked to today, but it's just kind of how it goes with these things. Also want to look at where I can move the lift pump, and then I have a big fuel filter that I'm going to have to figure out where I'd like to mount that. So I'd like to do it lower, hopefully on like the inner sides of the frame rail somewhere. Ooh, actually potentially on that back side could work. So to minimize like spillage and stuff when it comes time to change it. So hopefully another few weeks and this thing will be done. Hopefully another week. So we're almost there. I can almost taste it. All right, so we got a different day here. Still a little cold out, early December, Michigan, what up? Start to fill the power steering fluid, get that ready. My gigantic fuel filter came in. So now it's just trying to figure out where I want to put this. Still thinking like potentially on this side, on the side of the frame, or I could actually do it down here, but I don't know. I feel like that's a lot going on with like all the heat from the exhaust on this side. I don't know. We'll see. I got to finish up this wiring, which I'm gonna hopefully jam out. Wire some of my stuff on the inside of the car, the glow plug toggles, and that little fuse box deal. So I'm gonna go brainstorm where this is gonna go and throw this in. All right, cutting a little bit more of the wiring out. That's unnecessary. So also took my hood latch close sensor and so that goes to this doodad, connects way down in there. So I'm just gonna, as you can see, I've heat shrunk that and soldered it together. You can't really see, come on, focus. So it's just gonna always think the horn or the hood is closed. So this will allow the locking and the alarm to hopefully work correctly. I still have a few more things to tidy up here. I think what I'm gonna actually do is coil all of the other components until I figure out exactly if I need them or not, and just lay it somewhere next to the brake booster to kind of clean up the engine bay. So eventually it'd be nice to put some cable cover over these, make it look a little bit sleeker, but I don't know if it's worth it. So I'm gonna go find the accessory on power. So I might actually just grab something from underneath the, from one of the looms of wiring and just grab the positive power on from that to trigger it rather than going inside the car. So we'll see about that. Still trying to think where a good location for this would be. What would be the least invasive and the easiest to change? I'm still thinking like somewhere down in here on the right side. I just don't want to take the bumper back off after putting it back on. That was definitely a pain. So I'm gonna keep brainstorming and see what happens. Worst comes to worst, maybe I'll just mount it below the coolant reservoir or something right up in there. Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh well, we'll see. Alrighty, so I've cut a bunch of things off, plugged in as much as I could for now. So I'm gonna keep zip tying as I get a little bit closer. So I figured I'm gonna mount that fuel filter right there. It seems to be a pretty good spot for it. There's really nothing interfering with it, and also rerouting the fuel supply and return looks a little bit cleaner right there. So that's what I ended up going with for now. So I got to wire up the lift pump. Still have some more harness to plug in and cut, but it's really starting. I know from the video it probably doesn't look like much, but it really feels like a lot was accomplished so far today. So I still got to work on intake tubing to go from this to there, a bunch of the other things. Once I finish the fuel and most of the wiring, then I'm going to put the coolant reservoir back and start cutting hose for that. So slow and steady progress. And then I had to figure out if I want to cap these or just tape them or what. Kind of crazy looking. So I'm gonna keep plugging things in. I haven't figured out where exactly I want to mount my Amazon relay box or glow plug relay. So I'm thinking maybe somewhere back in here, but I know the battery goes there, and I don't want to make it too big of a hassle to adjust if needed. So I'd like to do it under the hood, but I'm also like a little hesitant like from here forward. But I'm just worried about like water. I don't know how much I trust those things to be waterproof. And then also like the heat, especially with the exhaust that's going to be coming out right through here. It's going to be a little toasty. Unless I want to do something, you know, tap it into there, but then like I'd preferably, you know, these are going to be all hidden. I might move this vac line a little bit if possible. So I'd like to make it, you know, look a little bit more presentable under the hood. Not that that really matters, but it kind of matters to me. So maybe I'll throw those. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. So I'm going to get back to that. And then I'm going to the junkyard either tomorrow or next week, and time for throttle linkage. So I'm trying to still figure out how I want to do a bracket off of this thing. Do I want to mount it off of here and do a lever arm that then pushes that? That might not be the best. Otherwise, thoughts are I'll mount something on the side of the fuel pump to then pull this thing back. So going to the yard, I'm going to probably look at some old Tahoes, Yukons, Silverados, because the older ones, like I think pre-04 or pre-05, all have the cable throttle. So I'm going to grab the pedal out of that, the pedal mount, and then the cable deal. And that should be long enough to reach it into here. And then I'll kind of just try to figure out how I can rig something. So, I mean, I got like another little, you know, I could mount, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Cool. I'm going to keep wiring, and I'll update you guys with my final location on those boxes. All right, so while I was doing some more wiring stuff, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my glow plug toggle switch. I figured it's a good time to remove the accelerator pedal, as I want to kind of get an idea of what sort of bracket and thing I need for that. So I'm just going to throw one of these old Torx bits on the end of my digital E ratchet. Just kidding, it's not digital, it's just electric. And zip this off really quick. Whoops, forgot it was in the wrong direction. All right, let's try again. Milwaukee, please sponsor me. And let's get that top one. Oh, you can see it. It's gonna be reach. Come on, baby. Nope, almost. Almost, come on. Nope. Sorry, you guys probably have no idea what I'm doing. Ooh, come on, baby. Nope, missed it. All right, well, I might have to do that one off camera, but bottom's loose. So I want to figure out what I can mount a bracket on to more or less replace this with a cable throttle. So, all right, I'm gonna take that off and I'll show you guys what the accelerator pedal looks like. All right, accelerator's out. I did not realize there was 2 bolts at the top. So I took it out anyways. So I'm gonna try to figure out what sort of junkyard components I can get to mount. I think I'm just gonna use this stock mount for a pedal and the hinge. So I'm gonna see what else I can find at the yard. I'm still thinking like an older GM product might be the best with the cable throttle. And and then figure out where I want to drill through the firewall, and then how I want to mount that. So I might have to do a little bit of welding to get that pedal to be in a acceptable position, but I'm really not too worried about that. So I'm gonna keep looking for the accessory on power, and I'm gonna grab one of those lines, and then I'm gonna wire that up through the firewall and then up to the other relay box. So that'll be next. So it looks like this interior fuse box on the driver's side, it looks like that's a pretty good power distribution line right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solder one little wire onto this lead right here. And that will be used as my switched excuse me, that'll be used as my switched power on. And I'm gonna then use this for the glow plugs and this to give that other fuse box power. So all that's gonna be used off a relay, so there's not gonna be really any amps or that high of amperage, maybe 1 or 2 amps total, pulled from this line that already is switched when the car is on. So I'm gonna go figure out how I wanna tap that. I'm thinking like I might either solder, or if there's an extra, slot somewhere, I might actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. That might be even easier. So this line also extends downward, and there's a blank fuse slot. So I might just jerry rig a little pin in there, and then put a fuse in it, and then wire it to the backside. So I'm gonna see if that's possible. All right, so I'm gonna switch it up for a second. So I was able to pull through some wire through the backside of the ECU box, which is actually kind of cool. And in the meantime, before I keep going on that, I'm actually gonna trim a lot of these extra wires that come out of the back of the ECU. So in doing something like this, I'm gonna all trim them at different lengths so they don't touch. And then I'm gonna slide the sleeve right back over them. So hopefully that'll eliminate any potential unwanted shorts and make this thing look a little bit cleaner. Okay, so this is what the final project looks like with the harness. So you see how they're all different lengths, they can't touch. Then when you slide the sleeve back on it, you're A-okay. So I'm gonna do that to the other connector as well. That'll help eliminate some of this extra unwanted rat's nest. So with the ECU box closed back up, I have my little pigtail coming out here that goes to right there. So haven't figured out how I exactly want to route this under here yet, because there's still more to clean up and remove. But I'm going to finish the under dash wiring. So then basically I can put the dash, release that side panel back on, and then tomorrow and hopefully go to the yard and get some more components and hopefully button that up. So it's getting a little bit closer. I might even, if I'm feeling really ambitious, it's kind of getting late today, throw in that other fuse box somewhere over here and finish my glow plug toggle run. That really depends on if I have enough connectors, and if I do, you guys will get that in this video, so hang tight. Alrighty, that's a wrap for today. So tidied up the harness a little bit more, finished the fuel plumbing, so that's basically 100% except for the lift pump, which then is going to get wired with the rest of the relay box and everything hopefully soon. So waiting on those hoses. Those should be not that big of a pain to install, I'm hoping. Wiring on the inside is just about done. So I have my toggle switch I have to wire up, and then I have to tidy up that little bird's nest right there. So then basically my glow plugs will be on a momentary toggle switch, and then I'll have an indicator when that glow plug relay is actually firing. So all good things. So I still have my other pigtail that I pulled through. I'm probably gonna put a bunch of quick disconnect connectors, or I might even pull a previous connector that I have, 4-pin, and actually splice into that and then make that go this way to where the relay box is going to be under this. So getting there slowly. Have to also re-bleed the fuel system and then give this thing a actual oil change. So it's coming along. So thanks for tuning in. The next episode is going to be me and my wife. What? That's right, I got married at the junkyard. So that'll be her first time, and I don't know, let's see if I can get a bracket for my throttle, and then I need a airbag module for my little Jetta. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are bold enough to actually try this as well, send me a note, because I'd be really curious to compare how you guys do things versus how I did it. Thanks.